So Battlefield 2042 Season 3 update came out yesterday, and I played a couple of games before recording this, and I noticed a pretty big FPS improvement over what I had at Season 2 and Season 1. So I took a look, and apparently they've done a decent job optimizing the CPU usage in this game, which is resulting in us getting an FPS improvement. So I'm going to be playing the game at 1080p on the lowest settings, and I'm going to be using the 3080 for this video, but I plan on going back and using a 3700X and maybe a 3050 just to emulate a mid to lower end system, because apparently it only applies to higher end systems, so I want to test that out as well, and we'll see if they get an FPS improvement as well. Alright, jumping into our first match. As you can see, we're getting 170 FPS to start it off, and jumping down to the 150s, which is already way above what I used to get with this game in Season 2. I went back and I looked at my old videos, and I used to get around 120 to 140 FPS in Season 2 at 1080p low settings. I might show some footage from the older season, just so we can compare it. It won't be on the same maps, unfortunately, but this game doesn't have a server browser, and Portal is dead, and basically most playlists are also dead as well, so it's kind of hard to match the maps between games and seasons, so I'm kind of forced into the newest playlist, which is for the new map. Alright, as you can see, CPU sitting at 71% usage now, whereas before it used to sit around 37 to 40% usage, so a 30% increase in CPU utilization, which is pretty fantastic. They've done a great job with this, and I'm seeing a pretty massive, oh my god, almost got him. I got two of them. So I'm seeing a pretty massive FPS improvement over what I had before. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing how this runs on a 3700X, because on release day it used to get like 50 to 70 FPS for me. It was pretty unplayable, to be honest, and it was pretty laggy. At the moment it gets around 90 FPS from what I remember playing it at, so hopefully we can get around 120, maybe 130 FPS for that system now. That would be pretty awesome. Guys, where are they? Heal up, boys. I can see us through the box, man. Wait, I can shoot through it? This map has a couple of quirks on it, but, you know, at least it runs well. Alright, as you can see, GPU is sitting around 80% usage, so it's still getting bottlenecked, unfortunately. But overall, we're getting a pretty fat FPS improvement over what we had before. Okay, there's so many enemies here. I'm good. So the highest FPS I've seen it hit is around 200 FPS, which is kind of crazy. I've never seen this game hit 200 FPS for me before, and this is the first. And lowest FPS is around 130 to 140, which is still okay. There's so many enemies here. I can't hold it down. I'm getting noob tubed. What are you doing? Okay, nice little triple. Getting the hang of Battlefield again. It's been a while since I played this game. I'm glad that they're supporting the game still and haven't abandoned it yet fully. Hopefully we can get a couple more updates before they fully move on to the next title. And finally, I'm going to be testing out the Ryzen 3700X. Going to be playing the game on 1080p on the lowest settings. I'm going to be using an RTX 3050 for this part. If it struggles and if we get GPU bound, then I'll go ahead and use DLSS. I'll play at 900p or something like that to make it CPU bound. Alright, let's jump into it. Alright, jumping into it. It looks like, okay, that's a great spawn. Okay, we start. Alright, I had to use ultra performance DLSS, and even at times we're still getting GPU bottlenecked. But I think for the most part, we are sitting at 85% GPU usage, and FPS is sitting in the 130s to 140s, almost the 150s even, which is kind of crazy because this CPU could never even hit 120 FPS consistently. It would peak at 120 occasionally at Season 2 or Season 1, I believe, but it never could even go past 120. And right here, we're able to hold 130 and up to 150 FPS. Alright, so I'm playing the game at 900p, ultra performance DLSS, hoping to be able to fully bottleneck the CPU. And let's see, at this point we should be, yeah, there we go. GPU sitting at 80%. Yeah, now we're fully bottlenecked. Game looks like crap, but it is what it is. We're testing the CPU out. But yeah, as you can see, FPS is consistently above 120. I have not seen it fall below 120 yet. On average, it's in the 130s up to the 140s. And GPU usage, wow, look at that CPU usage, 90% CPU usage. I've never seen that on this CPU. It's actually utilizing everything, every single thread, it seems like. Like I did mention before, at release with this CPU, I would get around 50 to 70 FPS at most. It was very laggy, very unplayable. And over time, it got better to a point where we could play at 90 FPS consistently and peak at 120. But now we're sitting at 120 consistently and jumping up into the 140s and 150s, which is insane. So let me know in the comments if you got an FPS boost with this update, and if you did, let me know what FPS you got. before and what you got now. And yeah, that's it for the video, guys. If you made this far, appreciate you. If you see, then like and sub the channel as well. See you next time. Throwing it back to some old footage. This is from season 2 using the RTX 3080 here. And as you can see, CPU usage is sitting in the mid 30s up to the low 40s. GPU is getting bottlenecked, sitting at 80% usage, and FPS is ranging between 110 up to 140 FPS. And going all the way back to the release of the game, I'm playing at 1080p here using a 3700X like before, and we're getting only 80 FPS here. And this was the basic case scenario. And CPU is sitting at 50% usage. So remember, now it's sitting at 90% usage. So it's actually using up all the CPU cores and threads available to it, which is very nice. And FPS obviously is sitting in the 120s up to the 150s.